The rain had been falling for 3 days straight over the town of Alder Creek. Most people stayed indoors, complaining about the wet roads and the cold seeping into their homes. But for Thomas Hartley, the rain was a kind of grace, a curtain that blurred the edges of the world just enough to make everything feel distant, manageable. Thomas was a man worn thin by life. At 42, he had buried both parents, lost a daughter in a car accident, and watched his marriage dissolve under the weight of silent grief. His hands, once strong from working wood in his father's shop, now trembled under invisible burdens. He hadn't touched a chisel or sanded a plank in nearly 5 years. He wandered the rain-soaked town, not looking for anything, just trying to stay in motion, afraid that if he stopped, everything would collapse. On the 4th day of rain, Thomas heard something strange. Music coming from the old chapel at the edge of town. It hadn't been used in years, abandoned like so many pieces of his own past. But the organ played a soft, warm hymn, drifting through the storm like a whisper. Drawn by something he couldn't name, he pushed open the heavy doors. Inside, candles flickered despite the damp air. The pews were empty. A man sat at the old organ, tall, cloaked in a white robe that shimmered faintly in the low light. He did not turn around when Thomas entered. "You came," the man said calmly. Thomas almost laughed. "I don't know why I'm here." "But you heard the call," the man replied, fingers dancing over the keys. Thomas walked slowly toward him. "Is this some kind of performance?" "No," the man said, finally turning. His face was ageless, eyes kind and yet infinitely deep. "This is a reminder that the rain does not mean ruin. It often means rebirth." Thomas blinked. "Are you a preacher?" "I am someone who listens," the man replied, "and you have a heart that's been silent for too long." Thomas sat in a pew, the wood creaking beneath his weight. For the first time in years, he felt the urge to speak honestly. "I lost her, my little girl, then everything else just broke. I tried to keep going, but the world feels so heavy, like I'm drowning in it." The man nodded, eyes never judging. "And yet you keep walking." "Barely. That is still walking," he said softly. "And that matters." A silence stretched between them, filled with the sound of rain. "Why did you open this place again?" Thomas asked. "I didn't. You did. When you chose to come in, you brought this place back to life. Not with your feet, but with your heart's ache. The door opens when someone is ready to remember who they are." Thomas looked up, startled. "I'm not sure who I am anymore. You are the man who still shows up, even broken, the father who loved deeply, the son who remembers, and you are still being shaped, just like the wood you once carved." Thomas felt tears sting his eyes. "But I'm so tired." "Then rest here, and let healing begin, not with effort, but with surrender." They sat in silence again. After a long while, Thomas looked around. The candles glowed brighter, the rain outside softened, and in his chest something uncurled, a quiet spark he thought was gone. He turned to ask the man another question, but the organ seat was empty. No robe, no trace, just the soft echo of a hymn lingering in the air. Thomas stood. Something inside him felt lighter, stronger. He left the chapel and walked home through the rain, no longer afraid of its weight, because he knew now the rain wasn't there to drown him. It had come to awaken him.